So this, as you can see, the anabolic pathway matrix, this is something that a lot of people on YouTube and a lot of coaches talk about. They talk about it as a way to see the different pathways to build muscle and lose fat. And I think this is great because it's going to show you all the different possibilities that you should try before you start taking drugs, for one, any kind of PEDs. So this is just sort of a little intro teaser for some things I'm going to go over in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully it can give you guys a chance to ask some questions about what you're curious about with this. Maybe even tell me what you've tried and what did work and didn't work. So briefly, I'm going to go over this. So this is going to look a little different depending on who you talk to. I'm probably going to edit this as I go forward a little bit, but basically the point of this is there's so many different pathways of ways to build muscle and lose fat and look better, increase your athletic performance before you get to this top section up here, which is, anabolics, HGH, stuff like that. That should be the very last resort under all circumstances, okay? So first of all, I'm going to go over diet. Diet is probably the most important part. There's protein, hitting your protein goals, nutrient timing, which is a less significant part of this, but it does make a difference. And then diet adherence, which obviously is one of the number one things, the most important thing as far as the diet goes. If you have a coach that doesn't understand how important diet adherence is, you absolutely need a new coach, because the whole point of any diet is based off of the calories and whether or not you adhere to it. So if there's a diet that you don't adhere to, it's not going to work for you no matter what kind of diet it is. The next part is inflammation / training. I have arachidonic acid and then some training methods and SEO. SEO is site enhancement oil. This is strictly for bodybuilders. And even then, you could easily just not even put this on the list, because if you're a bodybuilder and you need SEO to win like a local show, you should probably just stop bodybuilding. So anyway, training is a huge part of it. And there's a lot of training methods to go over. The next part is sleep and recovery. So sleep is going to be a big factor, especially for recovery and fat loss. The first thing on here, DSIP. So this is a peptide, probably one of my top 3 favorite peptides. It stands for Delta Sleep Inducing Peptide. It works incredibly well. If you're someone that likes peptides and likes to try new peptides, this is one you got to try. And it's actually the cheapest peptide that I know of. Next up is local growth factors. Again, arachidonic acid, blood flow restriction training. I'm sure people have heard of that. Then we move over to something similar, which is blood flow. Viagra, Cialis, pump supplements, beet juice, all this stuff is strictly about getting blood flow to your muscles and getting the most out of the nutrients in your body. The next one is insulin sensitivity. This is probably the most important out of all these, because you could do all of these things absolutely perfect, and if your insulin sensitivity is not correct, none of it's going to work. You probably hear this a lot on YouTube and TikTok and things like that, talking about insulin sensitivity causes different diseases and this or that, or maybe the disease causes insulin sensitivity. However you want to look at it, I'm going to go over insulin, metformin, berberine, carnitine, all of these things that are going to play a big role in gaining muscle and losing fat. The next one's cortisol. This one's probably the least important on the list, but we're going to go over how to keep cortisol low so that your body does what you want it to do. Trenbolone, THC, proper sleep supplements. So anyway, moving on to the next one. These last 3, the whole point of this is so that you don't have to do these last 3. You get all of these perfect first. So the different anabolics and estrogen. You'll notice one thing on here that isn't, I wouldn't quite call it an anabolic, but it sort of is clenbuterol. It's a beta-2 androgenic agonist, if I can pronounce that right. So this is one people are not probably aware of, but the literature on clenbuterol is extremely clear. It will build muscle. How it builds muscle, I'll explain it. It's a little bit different than what you might think, but it definitely works. And as far as something to try first out of these 3 sections, I would say that's the first one to try, especially for females, if someone knows how to help you use it properly. Human growth hormone, the next section. Again, this one is going to be pricey. I have secretagogues on here as well. It's going to be pricey, and you're not going to get a lot out of it. It's something that a lot of people say they don't even notice, even if they have a coach that tells them how to take it correctly, take a lot of it, combining it with insulin, things like that. I could probably throw IGF on here as well. Then the last thing is myostatin. Creatine is on this one. Creatine, out of all the supplements you could take, creatine has more studies and more meta-analysis done on it than anything there is. And it's by far the most safe supplement you can use, given you don't have any certain diseases, liver diseases, things like that. The creatine with a proper diet is going to do wonders for your body. And it's more than just holding water, as people say. Creatine is amazing. But in fact does have an effect on myostatin, just like YK11 and the anabolics and follistatin I have on the list. So these are definitely the last resort out of all of these things that I have listed here. So I'll go over these in the next coming weeks, and if anyone has any questions on them, please leave them in the comments below. Thanks.